Okay, Patricia, let's kick things off.
Yeah. Our special guest for today, of course, is Andrew Trim representing Convelo, and he'll be talking about the church and nonprofit program. And this is, of course, powered by Insure Hive. And since our webinar for today is very intimate, I can also allow our guest, Miss Jeannie Glasgow, access to the microphone, just so she can also share her thoughts along the way. And turning it back to you, Brian.
Oh, hey, Jeannie. Yeah, Jeannie, if you want to just unmic yourself, you can chime in anytime you want. We keep things light and simple here. And or you can put it in chat if you don't feel comfortable talking. You can always put it in the chat, and we'll be monitoring chat throughout the meeting today. So feel free to use the chat as well. But yeah, I'm excited about the call today for especially churches and nonprofits is such a niche industry, and it's exciting for us because with the state of the market, and Andrew could speak a little bit about that, is a lot of the big companies over the last 10 years are choosing to non-renew accounts that I think I don't know if it's a $1 billion market, but it's definitely growing and good at agent opportunity to cherry pick some of the business that's getting non-renewed out there from certain companies, as well as the nonprofits. It's a niche business, and I think it leads to referrals. And we're happy to have Andrew on the call to help you guys write that line of business. So without further ado, Andrew, just tell us a little bit about your program. I'm excited that you have the pen with Fortegra, which is kind of a nice little exclusivity type of thing we can offer that they can't get outside of Insure Hive. So talk about the Fortegra program and then all the other good things that you're doing, and we'll just go from there.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. So kind of quick little background on Convelo, then I'll get into the Fortegra program and some of the other programs that some of them we have the pen for, some of them refer out to. It just certainly depends on the program there. Convelo actually started, we have a retail side. I'm not on the retail side, of course. I'm on the MGU side. So being an MGU, the biggest difference is we have the pen for a lot of the programs opposed to an MGA that might just be more of a wholesaler. They founded Convelo back in 2018. So we're a relatively new MGU. From 2018 to like 2023, we grew to like 100 million in revenue. From 2023 to the end of 2025, so the most two recent years, we more than doubled that, and we ended last year just about 300 million. So reason for that is expanding product offerings, partnering with multiple different carriers to have coverage in all 50 states, and just continuing to grow the book through agencies and so forth. So that's a quick little crash course on us. We, for the most part, run with A-rated admitted carriers. We do have some programs that are through E&S as well, but we'll typically go through all of our program business first, exhaust that. If for some reason it doesn't fit, might not be a good appetite threshold, whatever it might be, then we can look to go ahead and refer out to some of the other carriers if we need to. So we really try to be more of an MGU and an MGA when we have to be. So as far as the products we go, I know Brian wanted me to start off with Fortegra. So Fortegra is one of the companies that we have, and I'm going to share my screen here. Someone just give me a thumbs up in the chat or come off the mic and just say I'm good once you can see it. And a lot of this Patricia did send out ahead of time, so if you need it, you can reference it in an electronic copy that you should have there. Here is, can everyone see my screen now? Am I sharing?
Yes, Andrew, we see it.
Perfect. So this is for the Fortegra program. This is just one of the programs that we have the pen for. So they're focused on smaller stuff. They want actually 15 million or less TIV per policy, 10 million or less per building. So they have increased that a little bit since the last time we updated this flyer. They're looking for the mid-size to small-size churches. If they have anything that's a armed guard or K through 12 operation, anything like that, they are going to decline it for that. But then we do have a couple other carriers that are okay with those exposures. So if you're looking at this, don't think this applies to all of our religious programs. This is strictly for the one that we have the pen for. But again, it's going to be GLPL, DNO, sexual abuse and misconduct if they need it. They can consider excess limits in this program for us as well. PCs 1 through 7, and then anything older than 100 years is really going to be tough for us to consider. I think we just had one with Patricia, that for a couple different reasons we can offer like casualty lines only. So depending on, the state, the appetite, guidelines, things like that, there might be some issues with, I know Houston or Harris County and the Houston area has been a little bit of a problem for some carriers. So it just depends on that. And then anything older than 100 years old, we need to see, extensive updates. If they've had any, if they've had some stained glass and some things like that, we can schedule those or work with that as well if we need to. So again,
Aaron,
we do have
what?
the pen for that program.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But that's my job here, and it's my job at home too. My wife says all the time, I interrupt her and don't let her talk. So I'm trying to be a better listener, but I'm failing. I'm failing miserably. I still remember my mom telling me, Brian, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and anyways, most of our agents, I think, on the call today, just to kind of plant the seed, are from one of our fastest growing states, happens to be Texas. And is this program available in Texas is what we get a lot. Specifically property, maybe tier 1, tier 2, up and down the coast. Can you talk a little bit about that particular state?
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about Texas. I handle more of the Midwestern states, and then of course some of the other submissions that come in for states like Texas and so forth. So Texas for us, I know anything that's coastal, anything that's in Harris County, I don't know the counties as well, but anything that's going to be coastal is likely going to be an issue if the wind hail score exceeds a certain amount, like some of these are. That's becoming an issue on the property side. On the casualty side, of course, we can always offer, the A-rated admitted casualty. But as far as the property goes, they've taken a pretty hard stance on that. Even like a couple of our other carriers, Church Mutual Guide 1, they've tightened up their guidelines quite a bit down there. So I think the best thing for us to do is if it's in a county that's a coastal exposure, maybe have Patricia reach out to me ahead of time, and I can just check with underwriting and say, hey, if you give me the zip code, we can tell you if it's going to be something that we can do the property on or not. And that's really the best that we can do when it comes to Texas stuff right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So again, this is all specific to the Fortegra program there. We will soon also have the pen for Fortegra's Human and Social Service program, so that should be rolling out. They say 6-1, maybe 7-1. That's actually going to have a lot of the same appetite that Church Mutual, Guide 1, AmTrust, and some of our other markets have. So I'm going to stay on religious orders for a second here. So I'm going to go carrier by carrier and go through their appetite and keep it moving that way. So when it comes to churches, we've got, of course, Church Mutual, that we don't have the pen for their church program. We do refer out to them. We have the pen for their Human and Social Service program, but for churches, we do refer out to them. Church Mutual wants larger churches, mid-sized churches, so their minimum premium is $25,000 for Church Mutual, and we refer out to them. Typically, we need 30 days. Patricia's got a really good idea of what we need to have a complete submission, so she's really good about getting that to us ahead of time. And then outside of that, they will consider if you've got a K through 12 attached to it or a small school, whatever the case may be, they're okay with that. If they've got a thrift store or anything else, 501Cs, they're okay with that exposure in addition to the church. After Church Mutual, we've got Guide 1. Again, we refer out to Guide 1 as well, and their minimum premium is only $2,500. So they'll look at the smaller churches, the mid-sized churches, all the way up to the larger stuff too. Again, anything older than 100 years old or in specific zip codes in certain areas that might have a coastal exposure or higher wind hail, that can be problematic. But for the most part, they're pretty aggressive in the states that they want to write business in. Probably not Texas and Oklahoma as much as maybe some of the further north states like that might have as much of the wind and the hail exposure there, but they are still considering stuff in those states.
What about Indiana? What about the state of Indiana? We get a lot of submissions from Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana for the most part. No, it's pretty open, just like Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota. There's really nothing that sticks out there. Even in some of the larger counties, they're okay with offering some of the higher umbrellas there still. So that's not an issue. That's something else that's worth pointing out too. In a lot of these religious orgs and churches, most of our carriers right now, this isn't of course inclusive for all of them, but for the most part, they're all limiting their umbrellas to $5 million And then they will usually include the abuse through the umbrella if you need it. Otherwise, they can cap that if you want to keep it outside the umbrella. But they do have that option. For the most part, all of our carriers are okay with that, given the loss history and so forth like that. So that's kind of what it comes to when we do the churches and religious orgs. Flipping over to the nonprofits, human social services a little bit. The carrier that we have the pen for is going to be Church Mutual. So I believe we're one of the only brokers in the country that have the pen for that program. We have it for just the human and social services, though. So again, we don't have it for the churches. But I guess what I kind of lead with, what's going to kick us out is probably sometimes more valuable than all the things we can do. So when it comes to human social services, nonprofits, the things that kick us out, if they're actually prescribing like methadone or actual drugs and things like that, that kicks us out. If they're not actually prescribing that and it's just a counseling center or substance abuse center, that's okay. We've got carriers that can offer coverage for that. They can consider the vicarious med mal as well. And then, so that would be one issue. And then if there's any like violent offenders or sexual offenders in any of the programs, those usually kick us out, or fostered adoption. So short of those handful of things there, usually we can try to wrap our head around and try to consider it. We write quite a bit of YMCAs, thrift stores, Goodwills. We do a lot of boys and girls clubs, a lot of food banks, homeless shelters, any sort of like community center, art center, things like that. We can write. We do quite a bit of all of that. And then outside of Church Mutual, we're going to have Guide One is another one of our carriers, again, A-rated, admitted. Believe they're in all 50 states as well. We don't have the PIN for their program. We refer out to them. They're in the states, they have growth states, right? So there are probably a handful of states, 8 or 10 different states, for the most part in kind of the upper Midwest and the Southwest that they're looking to grow in. So they've been a great carrier for us. Again, as long as we have 30 plus days submission lead time from the X date, that is what we ask to make sure that we have enough time to underwrite it, hear back from our markets and give you a quote within a week or two of your need by date there. So Guide One, again, similar to Church Mutual, they're okay right now going up to $5 million for the umbrella. You usually can include the abuse through that if it's needed as well. And I know there's some chat going on. I think if there's anybody asking questions, if Patricia or Brian can monitor that, I can't go in and they won't let me actually enter the chat while I'm presenting here. But if there are any, please certainly let me know. And then, okay, so those are the couple carriers that we have when it comes to human social services, nonprofits. We will soon have the pen for Fortegra's human social services, nonprofits. They are going to be an E&S market for us. So they're going to help on some of the harder to place stuff. Something that's got a little bit of hair on it, might not fit the appetite of a couple of our other carriers and things like that. Outside of that, we do some educational institutions as long as they are private, nonprofit, religious-based schools, seminaries, theological schools, Montessori's, right? Quite a few of those, charter schools. So if anybody has some of those, we've got a couple of carriers that, again, they like those. So let us know if you have anything like that. We do a little bit of senior and assisted living as well. Right now, I'd say we're kind of in between programs. So we don't, unfortunately, have an admitted option. Our option right now is going to be E&S. So if it is larger than 50 grand, we've got a carrier that likes looking at that. If it's smaller than that, as long as they're not doing any skilled care, we've got a carrier that will look at the casualty lines, the excess, and then we can try to piece together the property separately if you do have any senior and assisted living type of accounts there. And then for the most part, all lines can be written for the human social services, churches, religious orgs. We really try to be a one-stop shop for those programs there. And then we do have, if you have any like healthcare work comp, we do have a program through AmTrust. I think we're one of a handful of brokers in the nation that have access to the healthcare work comp program through AmTrust. They'll look at, obviously the cream of the crop stuff. They've looked at some stuff with higher, debit mods and so forth, but anything in the healthcare field, whether it be senior and assisted living, nursing homes, small regional hospitals, they like in-home care, respite care, hospice care, things of that nature. So if you have anything when it comes to monoline work comp, we've got a really good program through AmTrust on that front there. After some of our program business that I mentioned, some of the carriers that that are A-rated admitted. We for a while, we were just anything that wasn't through our program business, we were kind of letting walk. We finally had some differing of opinions on there. So we launched a wholesale division back at the end of last year. So for a lot of the same appetite that we have for churches, religious orgs, human social services, and the nonprofits, we do have some good wholesale and E&S options. So if for some reason we can't place it, like I said, in one of our other programs there, we do have quite a few different carriers that can help us from an E&S type standpoint. So I won't go over each of the specific carriers because there's 10 or 12 different ones, but we do have options for them when it comes to some of the more E&S type of business there. We've got a monoline cyber program, and we've got some other stuff too. So any questions so far?
Who's the monoline cyber program underwritten through?
So it's a Corvus by Travelers is one of them that we use. And then we have another one that's like our own Convelo cyber. I just don't know whose paper it's on, but it's admitted as well. So we've kind of got two different programs really when it comes to the cyber, but they'll include the phishing, smishing, social engineering, all that stuff. Yep. And then did you want me to get into, I know we were focusing more on the nonprofits, human social services, religious orgs. Did you want me to get into some of like the verticals that we have that we're building out outside of that, or stick to the nonprofits and churches? How did you want me to kind of handle that, Brian?
Patricia?
Yep.
Let's open up the microphone and see where Shannon and Jeannie want to take the call. Do they want us to keep any questions on the nonprofits or churches?
Actually,
Don't have anything right now.
Okay. Thank you. One of the questions, Andrew, was how do I get a submission? And I put in the chat for everybody. Everyone's got Patricia's email. You can email her or me, and we'll make sure it gets processed. So everyone has my email. Just send the apps to us. They do require the narrative on target premium. If there's a backstory, the underwriters appreciate that backstory. And then there's a supplement, right, Andrew? There's a specific supplement that needs to get completed.
Yeah, exactly. Just the core, the supplement will depend on which carrier and obviously what kind of a risk it is. 5 years loss runs. The narrative's always really helpful. Obviously, target premium, so we know where you want to be at. Yeah, you give us all that, that'll be a complete submission for us. Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah. If nobody has any more questions on the churches or nonprofits, what else you got?
Cool. So we've got a couple different programs on the horizon here. One of them should be launched in the next couple of months, but we will have an excess liability program. Right now it goes over manufacturing, construction, and some distribution classes. We will soon have one that's going to go over like habitational. So if you have any sort of habitational risk at all, we'll have some excess options all the way up to, I believe, 10 million for that. As soon as that goes live, we'll send out, emails company-wide to share with you all so you can know that program's live and any other additional details we have. We do have another company that they're called Leo, and they're A-rated, they're admitted. We don't have the pen for their programs or anything, but they'll look at a lot of the nonprofits, human social services, types of stuff, but then they'll also look at like amateur sports leagues. So if you need like participant medical, AD&D, all that sort of stuff when it comes to like semi-pro sports leagues and amateur leagues, they have a program for that we have access to as well. So we do have some options built out there. We do have a program. It's a Berkshire company. It's Guard is who it ends up being. So I don't know if you already have them or have access to them.
So we have Leo and Guard. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got both of them then, so that's no different than what we're able to offer you there. And then we've got a couple other just E&S carriers for senior assisted living, for human social services. That's a company called Wyvern. They're going to be non-admitted, but they are A-rated for their financial strength rating. So there's someone else that's been helping us out on some of these too. So That's kind of it as far as the wholesale stuff goes. You're going to continue like our bread and butter. I think we're going to continue to champion ones with you all is on the churches, religious orgs, human social services, nonprofits, and especially if it's in within Church Mutual's warehouse, if we can run with them on the human and social service side, I think that's been a huge help.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's it. Like I said, we kind of have our 7 or 8 different verticals. We stick to them. I guess we have another vertical. We just haven't discussed it much with you all, but does anybody do any sort of like non-emergency medical transportation at all? We do have a pretty niche program for that. We don't have the pen for it, but it is a program that is very limited distribution throughout the country. So we do have a kind of really nice, I guess, access to that. So if that's worth going over, I can.
The
non-EMT,
yeah, the non-EMT business right now. Insure
Yeah.
Hive does a lot with. We do a lot with Home State,
Okay.
Berkshire Hathaway Home State,
Gotcha.
BHHC. So I don't know if that's the same company.
No, so we've got probably a dozen or so different carriers. I think that's a Berkshire company, so I think that is. We
Mhm.
don't have, I think we might have one of their programs, but not a ton. But we've got, there's a company called South Lake Specialty that operates in the Midwest, the Southwest. They're in like 20, 21 states total, I think. So we have access to their program. And then we've got Aon, we've got Fairmatic, we've got RLI, Hudson. There's probably 7 or 8 total different that we have there, none of which we have the pen for. That is a straight wholesale play for us. But I've probably written an account or two, every month since I started about a year and a half ago. So if anybody does have any interest in that, I can send them more information. Of course, the submissions can be quite a bit with the supplements and vehicle and driver's lists, but we do have some healthy options if you need that.
Okay. Well, we got about 2 more minutes left. Shannon or Jeannie, anybody have any questions for Andrew? Anything sitting on your desk right now you need quotes for? We can do it today if you want.
This is Jeannie. I am getting ready to send another quote for one we quoted last year.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Fairview
I think-
United Methodist.
Yeah, what happened last year? We just didn't have enough time. Was that it?
We kind of ran out of time, and then the insured decided, he said, well, I probably don't have time to change. So he went ahead and stayed with Mennonite, and he has not been happy with them, and was talking to Frank the other day, and we're looking
Yeah.
to see if we can maybe change it as of 6/2.
Andrew,
don't
can we
have-
do that?
Yeah, Jeannie, if you want, I can give you, I don't know if I have your number or not, but if you want, let me know what your number is. I can shoot you or give you a call when we get done here and kind of go through that one more. If it's something we looked at last year, I have to pull the submission and see what it was.
Okay.
Cool. I guess you have my number if you want to give me a shout when we're done here.
You just forward it to Jimmy. You can just email Patricia and she'll connect you with Andrew.
Okay. Thank you.
Jeannie, how's Tony Brown doing?
He's doing okay. Did
Okay.
he? I had talked to Patricia. Did he send Crossroads Church?
No,
in?
his last email was September 9th.
Not
And
yet.
he said, hey,
Yes,
Brian.
it's in it yet.
Not yet, but I'll do so soon! Exclamation point.
I'll have to jiggle his noodle tomorrow.
Yeah, jiggle his noodle.
Because he was going to have Kim Bates send that in. I was
Right.
out when that one came in, so.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. That's I just want to jump on it when he sends it to us. So
Okay.
I did send him a reminder. I think that was Friday. I got his voicemail on his cell.
Okay.
But haven't heard back.
Because he hasn't said anything to me, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I will ask him tomorrow or next time I see him where that one's at.
okay.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's all we got for today, Andrew, which was a lot. I thank you for
Awesome.
jumping on this call.
Yeah, nope. Thanks for having me in front of everyone. Appreciate that. Yeah, please let us know what we can do to help you out. I know Patricia's always great about getting us everything we need. So we'll keep putting our best foot forward as much as we can here. And yeah, Ginny, certainly get a hold of me. We can connect more on the United Methodist here.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you guys all very much.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.
Thanks, Patricia.
See you
Thanks,
next
everyone.
time.
Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.